Okay, so now we're going to talk about absolute value inequalities. So these aren't equations. These are either going to have less than or equal to or greater than or equal to. So that's what we're talking about here. I'm going to talk about the less than and less than or equal to cases first. Okay, so let's say you have the absolute value of x is less than 4. So you can think about it on a number line. Okay, here I am at 4, and I'm saying, okay, I need numbers less than 4, right? Okay, so 1's less than 4, 0's less than 4, and things are going along really good, but there's going to be a point where the absolute value is not less than 4, and it's going to happen right here at -4, okay? So all those numbers in between here, if you take the absolute value like of 3, less than 4, absolute value of -1, less than 4. But the absolute value of 5, that's not less than 4. And the absolute value of -5, that's not less than 4. Okay? So hopefully that helps you understand it a little bit. I call this kind of like an in-between situation. So what you're going to do when you have that is you have the absolute value part already isolated, or if not, you're going to get it isolated. So you isolate the absolute value part, and then if it's less than or equal to, you're going to take x and you're going to sandwich it in between the positive case and the negative case. I call it a less than sandwich. So you're putting whatever's inside the absolute value, you're putting that between the negative and the positive. Okay? All right, so that's how you solve those. They're going to want you to write the answer in interval notation. In this case, it would be -4 to 4. Okay, so that's the less than case. Now let's talk about a greater than case. So let's say you have the absolute value of x is greater than or equal to 3. Okay, well, on a number line, you could think about 3. And you could, and this time I made it equal to, so it'd be a square bracket. You can think about all those numbers that are bigger than 3. And that is true. 4 is bigger than 3, 5 is bigger than 3, 6 is bigger than 3. All those numbers going off in that positive direction are greater than 3. And if you take the absolute value, they're positive, so they're still going to be greater than 3. But you also have numbers down here that if you take their absolute value, it would be greater than 3. So absolute value of -4 is 4, and 4 is greater than or equal to 3. See what I'm saying there? So I have to have really big numbers, bigger than 3, and I have to have really small numbers, numbers less than -3. Okay? This is the greater or situation. So think of it as greater. It's an or situation. Either I need these numbers where they're getting bigger, or I need these numbers where they're getting smaller. Okay? Now, how do you, again, you isolate the absolute value part, and you're going to set up two situations. Either x is less than or equal to the negative case, or x is greater than or equal to the positive case. Okay, so it's a divergent thing. You've got it going off to the right and off to the left. Okay, so that's where the or comes in, greater or. So another math teacher taught me that, and I've always remembered it. Okay, how do you write that in interval notation? It would be from -infinity to -3. This time we're having a square bracket because it's got the equal to part, and then you're going to union it with square bracket 3 to infinity. Okay? Now, there are a couple special cases, so let's talk about special cases. Let's say you have the absolute value of x is greater than -10. Well, you know what? Absolute value part's going to be positive, and so everything's going to work. It's going to be from -infinity to infinity. All real numbers. Okay? Let's say you have the absolute value of x is less than -2. Well, nothing's going to work there because you're always going to have a positive on this side when you take the absolute value of it, and positive numbers are never less than negative numbers. So this would be the empty set or no solution. I'm not sure how they want you to write it, but I think in WebAssign they have you. I think there's a button to push no solution or something. Okay. Yeah, I think that's all the special cases I can think of right off the top of my head.